everyone, welcome back to our channel. So, for those who are new, my name is Yakshi and I'm an English subject matter expert. And in each video, we learn something new regarding English, IELTS, or GCSE. So, for today, we are going to understand how to make our writings more formal and enrich it with lexical resource. Now, what's lexical resource? It's just a fashionable synonym of vocabulary. Okay, so we are going to learn different methods today with which we can elevate our language and make it more formal. Because most of the times when we write, students don't face a problem with writing, they face a problem with how to make it more formal. So that's exactly what we're going to study in this particular video. So let's get started. Now, the very foremost method is replacing informal phrases. This should be your go-to method while you're revising your answer or even while you're writing your sentences. Now, a lot of times we see that we use personal pronouns as well. We'll discuss that later in the coming slides. But here we have to make sure that we do not use we, I, you, etc. For example, an informal sentence is we can see that Shakespeare uses imagery to describe emotions. Now, there's nothing wrong with this sentence. Grammatically, it's all correct, but it's not formal. So, even though you have the right answer, you'll still get a -1 in your marks because you did not write formally. So, in order to save this deduction, we are going to learn how to replace it. So, a more formal tone would be it is evident that Shakespeare employs vivid imagery to convey complex emotional states. Right? Now, that's more descriptive and formal at the same time. The major change was that we replaced we with it is evident. So, similarly, we are going to upgrade our conversational language. For instance, we can use these following formal alternatives for academic precision. Now, instead of writing we can see, you should always go with it can be seen or it is evident. That's my personal favorite. Another one is they say. Sometimes when you state the obvious, that they say early to rise, early to bed makes a person wise. So instead of saying they say, because maybe you're highlighting a common saying or any proverb, instead of that you can say it is often claimed or it is widely believed. So you see the shift which gets created the moment you shift from an informal to formal phrase. Another one is I think. So instead of writing I think, because I is a personal pronoun, the moment you mention I, it makes your writing personal instead of formal. So instead of that, you should write it can be argued or one might suggest. And lastly, instead of saying you can tell, because sometimes when you're explaining any prose or any literary device, we say you can tell that the writer has used alliteration. But writing you here is not the right choice. So what else can be done? You can say it becomes apparent, or it can be observed that the writer has used alliteration. Okay, so that's what I wanted to teach all you guys today, how to make your informal writing into formal. Now, definitely this is method number 1. I'll take you through a lot of methods today. Now, this is the second one, avoiding personal pronouns. Just like I talked about, instead of using I, we, you, they, you should change these into more formal phrase. For example, instead of saying I believe, you can say the character can be interpreted as so and so. Instead of saying I believe the character is selfish, you can say the character can be interpreted as selfish. Now, it's not something that you are saying, it's not your personal judgment, it's something which you can interpret, which the reader can interpret. You can understand. Instead of writing you can understand, you can write the author's message can be understood as, right? We notice. A change is noticeable. Correct? So always think that instead of telling your personal opinion, you should describe it as a reader's observation. That's what I told one of my students earlier in my class, that instead of writing I believe that a change is happening in the narrative, you should write the reader can observe a change in the narrative. So the moment you write like that, it's going to leave an impact on your examiner, because examiners do notice these slight changes. Okay, now if this method looks a bit difficult for you, if you can't memorize everything, then I have a simpler one where you just have to replace I, we, you, they. You can use a generalized expression, which is one, an individual, a reader, a person, or the audience. So that's easier, that's like a shortcut, and this one might take some effort. But I would prefer that you mix both of them to make your writing more formal. All right. Now, the third one. This is something which usually goes unnoticed. Students do not think about this one and they write vague pronouns all the time. It was like that, that changed, they were angry. So I always ask the students that why are you using these pronouns? Why not write exactly what you want to mention? Be specific about your sentences. I'll show you how. See, you have to replace vague pronouns like it, they, this, and that. Use specific terms for better clarity. I'll tell you how. Instead of saying it was difficult, mention what it is in this particular example. The situation was difficult. Instead of saying they were angry, the characters were angry. This shows courage. This act of defiance demonstrates courage. So instead of writing it, they, this, sometimes it gets vague and it makes the examiner a bit grumpy as well. So be specific when you're mentioning something specific. Okay. There's another example. Instead of saying they are brave, you can see the soldiers demonstrate considerable bravery, because the reader or the examiner in this case gets to know that what exactly you're talking about. The soldiers. Okay, so this is a really important one. You might want to note it down. You can pause the video and then make your notes. All right. Now we come to the section 2 of this video. Till now we understood how to make our language more formal, but now we are going to understand that once our language is formal, what to do next. We still have to level up, right? In order to get your desired score, your vocabulary should reflect the range of words which you know. So there are some methods which we are going to learn. So you have to replace the term very with more precise words. So I'll be honest with you, it is such a word that is used a lot of times in a single day. Whenever someone asks you how is this, you say it's very nice, it's very good, it's very beautiful, you look very beautiful. So the term very is used so many times. It's such a common word that you should just throw it out of your dictionary, throw it out of your language for your examinations. In personal communications, it's okay. But if you want to level up there as well, you should throw it out. So, how should you replace it? One is to use a better word, a vocabulary word for that. Second is you can use an adverb. Let's understand the first one. So, instead of saying very tired, you can say exhausted, fatigued, drained. So whenever you're done with your day, you must catch yourself saying I'm very tired. So instead of that, just say I'm exhausted, I'm drained. And instead of saying very happy, you can say elated, overjoyed, jubilant. So these are the words which you can use. If this looks difficult, I have a shortcut as always. So you can use adverbs like extremely, deeply, remarkably, highly, profoundly. Now, what you have to do, you just have to replace very with these adverbs. If you're going to say the dress is very beautiful, instead of saying the dress is very beautiful, just pick one of the adverbs that works best with that example and you're golden. Okay, so instead of saying your dress is very beautiful, you should say your dress is extremely beautiful. Okay, instead of saying I'm very disappointed, you can say I'm deeply disappointed at you. So it adds more vocabulary. Instead of saying very, you should use these adverbs. Okay, next is upgrading your adjectives. Now I know this is a difficult task. Sometimes we're not able to think about the right adjective on the spot, but practice will make it possible. So the first one is elevated adjectives. They help you to enhance your descriptions. Instead of saying just happy or nice, you can use better adjectives. They also add expression and creates an image in the mind of the listener or the reader if you're writing something. And this is a tool which is really useful in story writing or creative writing. If you're writing a story or writing something creative, upgrading your adjectives is a must. I'll show you some examples. For instance, nice can be delightful, charming, gracious. Beautiful can be stunning, elegant, radiant. Big can be enormous, immense, substantial. So you see the shift that we create. Instead of just saying something is nice, something is beautiful, or something is big, we are using words such as charming, stunning, elegant, mesmerizing. Okay. An example, since I talked about beautiful dresses, she wore a beautiful dress. That's a basic sentence. It is not incorrect, but you won't get a better score. But if you write, she wore an elegant and exquisite gown. So you see the shift, the sudden shift in the perception as a reader or as a listener. Beautiful dress means okay, it's a dress, beautiful, normal. But when you say an elegant and exquisite gown, it makes us think it must be expensive, it must be so stunning, or it must be royal. So that's the power of using the correct adjectives, and you must take advantage of this. Sometimes you just have to think how would this word make the examiner feel, and examiners love adjectives. Okay, now we'll practice a bit. We'll understand the word pair upgrade mechanism, how you should level up your vocabulary. So here you have to replace the underlined phrases, and I'll do it with you. I'll tell you some examples how to do this. So the first one is he was really scared when he saw the spider. So instead of really scared, you can use terrified. He was terrified when he saw the giant spider. Okay. Instead of really scared, you can even say he was extremely scared or he was tremendously scared. The next one is the food tasted really good. So instead of really good, you can say the food tasted extremely delicious, extremely scrumptious. So scrumptious is a vocabulary word which has the same meaning as delicious. They're one and the same thing. Then the student did a great job on the test. So instead of great job, you can say the student did a commendable performance on the test, or the student aced the test. That's also a good word. Last one is it was a bad decision. So instead of saying it was a bad decision, you can say it was a regrettable choice. Okay, or you can say that it's disappointing to see how bad of a decision he made. So sometimes you can change the structure to add more words to your sentences. Okay, now practice is the key. It's the nature of world. Whenever you practice, you get better at things. So there's a question which I have for you, and I will share the answer with you. So the original one is, Shakespeare's writing is really good. He uses a lot of imagery. This helps the reader understand the character's feelings. The character is angry. So this is how like a student would write, but we should always try to make it better. So an elevated version of it must be, I'll erase the screen so that I can make more comparisons. So Shakespeare's writing is really good. That was our first sentence. So instead of that, we can write, Shakespeare's writing is exceptionally profound. Going from really good to exceptionally profound. Then he uses a lot of imagery. Now instead of a lot of, we are using ample. Ample means many. Okay. His ample and vivid imagery enhances the reader's comprehension of the character's intricate emotional landscape. Now that's a heavy sentence. So we clubbed sentence 2 and sentence 3. This helps the reader to understand the character's feeling. The character is angry. The character is clearly enraged. Okay, so this is how you can highlight it. So our basic deal is that we have to change informal terms, add adverbs, add adjectives, and then you're good to go. You'll have a great answer. All right. So that's what we basically did in this short video, right? And if you're looking to learn something, you can always reach out at the email given here. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.